Hi, this is Mrs. Crew, and I'm going to be going over the perfect squares and square roots portion of the Unit 1 test with you. So the first thing that you should have done before you even began your test is to make a list of all of your perfect squares. So we have to know them from 1 to 400. So if you have to think of what times itself, you can list that here. So I know 20 times 20 gives me 400, and I know 1 times 1 gives me 1. So then in order to get the next one, it would be 2 times 2. I know that's 4. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4, 16. 5 times 5 is 25. Then you move on to 6 times 6. The perfect square is 36. 7 times 7, the perfect square is 49. 8 times 8, the perfect square is 64. 9 times 9, the perfect square is 81. 10 times 10, the perfect square is 100. So then you move on to the bigger numbers. So 11 times 11 gives you 121. 12 times 12 is 144. 13 times 13, 169. 14 times 14 is 196. 15 times 15, 225. 16 multiplied by itself is 256. 17 times 17, 289. 18 times 18, 324. 19 times 19, 361. If you prefer to write the perfect square triangle, then you should have also listed that on your scratch paper before you begin to take your test. And you can refer back to this notes or your perfect square triangle throughout your test when you hit the perfect squares and square roots questions. This is question number 12. The question says the number 169 is a perfect square. What is the square root of 169? So all that means is what number times itself gives you 169. And if you look back at your list, you would see that it is 13 times 13. Question number 13. What is the value of, and this is the square root of 324. So once again, that just means what number times itself gives you 324. You look at your list of perfect squares and the answer is 18. Question number 14. So choose all of the numbers below that are perfect squares. So you have to make sure you read carefully, and it says you must select all that apply in order to get this correct. So you once again take out your list of perfect squares and square roots and you just check them off. 10 is not a perfect square. 100 is, 50 is not. 196, 361, and 400. So you should have checked off 4 answer choices for question number 14. Question number 15. The area of a square is 225 feet squared as shown below. What is the length of each side? So we know that a square, all the sides are the same. And in order to find the area of a square, you would multiply the side length times the side length, which is one number times itself, is going to equal 225. And if you look at your list of perfect squares, you would see that 15 times 15 is 225. And honestly, none of these other answers make any sense. 20 times 20 is the biggest perfect square we know, and that equals 400. 225 is way below 400, so the answer has to be lower than 20. This is not lower, and that's not lower than the number 20.